Our oceans are in peril, and the clock is ticking. Despite global promises to tackle climate change, the vast waters that cover over 70% of our planet and absorb nearly a third of human-caused CO2 emissions are being treated like a dumping ground. Sir David Attenborough, the renowned naturalist, once declared that the most critical place on Earth isn't on land, but at sea. His words, backed by alarming evidence of deteriorating ocean health, have sparked urgent calls for better protection and governance. This sense of urgency was palpable at the third United Nations Ocean Conference in Nice last June, where 170 countries and 190 ministers gathered. Yet, the notable absence of the United States cast a shadow over the event, leaving many to wonder about the global commitment to this cause. But here's where it gets controversial. The UN High Seas Treaty, officially known as the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, BBNJ, aims to safeguard marine and coastal ecosystems from the triple threats of climate change, overfishing, and pollution in international waters. This landmark agreement imposes legally binding obligations on nations, including the creation of marine protected areas, mandatory environmental impact assessments for high seas activities, fair access to marine genetic resources, and support for developing countries. However, without stringent enforcement mechanisms, its success hinges on political will and international cooperation. And this is the part most people miss. The treaty's effectiveness relies heavily on nations actually following through on their promises. To date, 49 countries have ratified the treaty, while 18 others have signed but not yet completed the process. The United Kingdom has pledged to ratify it by year-end, and China has made a similar commitment. For the treaty to take effect, 60 ratifications are needed, with implementation projected by January 1, 2026. The European Union has stepped up, allocating €40 million to support ratification and an additional €1 billion for over 50 ocean-related initiatives. Yet, achieving the global goal of protecting 30% of the oceans by 2030, a campaign known as 30x30, requires an annual investment of $15.8 billion. Currently, only $1.2 billion is being invested annually, leaving a staggering gap. French Polynesia has taken a bold step by establishing the largest marine protected area on Earth, spanning 1.1 million square kilometers. Harmful practices like bottom trawling and deep-sea mining are banned here. Countries such as Samoa, Colombia, São Tomé and Príncipe, and Tanzania have followed suit, announcing new protected areas. Pacific Island nations, among the most vulnerable to rising sea levels, have also banned bottom trawling. The president of Tuvalu, a small island nation, poignantly expressed fear that his country faces an existential threat, with its entire population at risk of being erased from the map. And this is where the debate heats up. The conference concluded without reaching a consensus on deep-sea mining, a practice that could inflict irreversible harm on biodiversity, ecosystems, and the ocean's ability to absorb CO2. Meanwhile, bottom trawling in remote and vulnerable ocean zones remains poorly regulated, and large oil companies continue to release millions of tons of CO2 and greenhouse gases with little accountability. A treaty can only succeed if it addresses these emissions on a massive scale, a point that divides opinions. India, which governs 20% of the world's oceanic territory, faces the looming displacement of 60 million coastal residents due to rising sea levels. At the conference, Union Minister Jitendra Singh urged global action to protect oceanic areas. However, he notably omitted any mention of ratifying the BBNJ treaty or addressing the annual release of 9.3 million tons of untreated plastic waste into the ocean. This raises a critical question. Can we truly protect our oceans without tackling these interconnected issues head-on? As we reflect on these challenges, it's clear that the fate of our oceans, and by extension, our planet, depends on bold action and unwavering commitment. But what do you think? Is enough being done, or are we falling short? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this vital conversation going.